Oh, I can watch him spanking it on YouTube?
It's like a chest up. It's literally like him coming out of it, basically. He's like, and then like
he's doing what now?
He's like, shut the fuck up.
Hello, and welcome to the Time Well Meant podcast. Whether you are a returning listener or if this is your first episode of the show, thanks so much for tuning in. We're happy to have you here today. My name is Kirby. Here on the show, we like to discuss a variety of topics. Mostly we like to talk about gaming, the various goings-ons around the interwebs, and most importantly, mental health and how that can affect each and every one of us. Now, with all that said, today actually is a special episode because every fifth episode here on TWM, we like to mix it up a little bit. So one of us will do a deep dive into whatever we decide is interesting, whatever we think you'll like to hear, and whatever we want to talk about. So for today's topic, I have no idea what it's going to be yet. I need to introduce my co-host. Here is my dear friend, Sylas. What are we talking about today, brother?
Oh God. Well, okay. We're talking about something that I need to preface this. I need to preface this before we get into this.
We're already going into a preface.
We're already going to give some context.
60 seconds in, dude.
We're already going to give some context. We're already going to give some preface. I am a little internet goblin. Okay. I love the internet. I think it's a fantastic place full of very odd and interesting people. Is the words that I'm choosing for this right now. Okay. Today's topic is something that I hold near and dear to my heart in the worst kind of way. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. It's not something that I think that the normal layman is very knowledgeable about. It's not something that people would normally go and explore down, but there's this almost weird it's this weird kind of corner of the internet that if you don't know about it, you would never think to look into it, right? And that is Lolcows. Okay, this is something that I have briefly talked about. If you've listened to the podcast for a while now, I have talked I've sprinkled in, little bits and pieces about various Lolcows. And I need to kind of give an explanation on my understanding and kind of how I've discovered Lolcows. Years ago, I heard about this guy named Chris Chan. Okay. Everyone, that's the one that people know. I'm not going to get into who Chris Chan is right now because that's for later. But that's how I kind of got. There is a 50+ part series about this person. These people that we're going to talk about today are people that have had their lives documented on the internet in such a way that's like that 50 years ago we would have never even imagined. Like 20 years ago we would have never imagined these people could be. You can go back. I mean, there's websites. There's documents, there's video essays, there's just so much information about these individuals. And it just kind of blows my mind. And it's this weird sort of thing where it's like watching a car crash that keeps crashing. It's like rolling down a hill. And that's what we're going to discuss today. So I want to say there is a little bit of a twist to this. So we're not actually going to do a serious deep dive into one particular Lolcow, and instead we're going to do sort of a surface level introductory into Lolcows. I thought really hard about, maybe I should just like pick one or two and like do like really, really deep dives. There's like a million videos out there that if you really want the deep dives, if you really want, if something strikes your interests, let us know in the comments. If I can reach out to us, whatever. Let us know. We'll maybe on another deep dive, we'll make a particular like targeted deep dive. But as of right now, this is just going to be, we're dipping our toes in. Okay. I know Kirby, you're not as well versed as I am in the Lolcows. You know of a couple, I'm sure.
Actually, I'm really excited for this. Because I had no idea coming into this prior what you're going to be talking about. Just like with my episode 5 episodes ago about Randy Blythe, it was really cool. Check it out.
Oh yeah, check it out.
But yeah, when you say Lolcows, the very first thing that comes to my mind is Boogie. And then beyond that, I don't even know that I could name another person who that like is a Lolcow in this world because I guess that's the only one I've ever really been exposed to. I'm glad you said Chris Chan though. I've heard that name a lot, and I know so little.
Yes.
So
To give you an idea, I want you to kind of decide how this is going to go. So I have a list. I have a list of lolcows. And I had this idea. This is actually kind of last minute that I'm changing this up, because the original idea that I had was I was going to go down the list. I was going to riff off about what I know about these lolcows and kind of give brief information and just go down and then open it up to you for any questions. But what I think I actually want to do is I want you to pick numbers. and you'll pick the numbers, and then what I'm going to do. So actually, but before we get started, I need to take it just a step back. Okay.
More preface.
If you'll take a look at the Discord really quickly, I want you to look at the top channel and see what that says. I believe it reads Kirby's Worst Nightmares.
It does. That was not there before. Okay.
So to give an idea, I want to put the one thing that I think really needs to be, that's going to be different. And I apologize to the Spotify listeners. If you're listening to on any other platform, I apologize if you're an audio listener. You will be lacking on this episode just a little bit. Now I'm going to do my best to describe these individuals the best that I can. But what I'm going to do is, as we go down the list, or as you decide to pick numbers, I'm going to put images that I've found off the internet. Now, mind you, you accidentally saw one of them earlier. Okay.
I did. I accidentally saw one single image.
You saw one image. We won't talk about that. But as we go down the list, depending on what number, the idea is that depending on what number you pick, we'll talk about that person. Because what I realized is I started organizing this list in a way that was kind of like best to worst. And then I got to realize, like, there is no best to worst. They're all terrible. They're all like fucking awful. None of them are really good people. Lolcows in themselves, to give a description, as Urban Dictionary would say, a lolcow is a person or group of people laughed at for actions they take despite not trying to be funny. They may try to take themselves seriously, but are often milked for laughs with or without their knowledge. A lot of these people sort of just place themselves on the internet. They document their lives. There are so many lolcows. There are people who have started within just a normal internet career or a normal internet presence and have moved into lolcowdom. And there are people who were almost born into the lolcowdom. As weird and as odd as that may sound.
I was born this way.
Yeah. And so I'll leave it up to you. If you want, I'll go down the list and we can talk about all these guys. And there are some of them that I can kind of riff on for a while longer, but there's some of them that I have not a lot to say. I will say, if we go with the number picking, there are certain numbers that end up being tied together. So I might end up grouping some of the numbers together.
Okay. So first, a question for you.
Yes, absolutely.
I almost was always under the impression that a lolcow was someone, and they knowingly, like, they know I'm degrading myself and I am just amusing people with my existence. And then from the outside looking in, it seems like they have a sad existence, but that's neither here nor there. They are like aware of it and they kind of own it. I'm doing stupid shit because I'm a lolcow and this is what it is for me. So you're saying
yes
that there are...
Yes and no.
There are some people like that.
There are some people like that, but then there are plenty of people that they think that they're just like genuinely internet famous. They think that they're like Markiplier or whoever. Like, they think that they're like an internet celebrity. They understand, like, a lot of these people understand that they have trolls and they have people that like to, mess with them. But for the most part, there's a good chunk of these people that just think like, oh yeah, I'm just internet famous. Nothing's wrong. Nothing could go wrong. Yeah, everyone loves me. Everyone's super cool. A lot of and I guess to go into more, as we kind of explain lolcow culture, you'll kind of understand that a lot of the times where they get this idea from is from the people that are trolling them. There's this weird sort of relationship. It's this give and take relationship between the lolcow and the troll. Now, I want to say right now, we at Time Well Meant.
I want a National Geographic special on this, narrated by David Attenborough.
Hell yeah.
The troll approaches the lolcow.
Oh God. We at Time Well Meant, of all the people, there's plenty of information out there. A lot of these people have doxed themselves and their real names are out there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be using any real names. we don't condone any trolling. If you want to go look into these people, that's perfectly fine. There's a repository of information. There's so much information.
And you can comment anything you like on their YouTube videos, on their pages, you know.
But understand, like, don't go out and harass these people.
We're not telling you.
Yeah. Don't go out and harass these people. Don't go out and, you know, if you want to go look them up, if you want to go, and I will say it's a wide range that we'll be covering depending. This is kind of why I want to be like Russian roulette it. Because some of these guys, some of them are like pretty innocent. Some of them are just like really weird. Some of them are really fucking gross. I wanted to talk a little bit about there's kind of a subculture or a subsection of Lolcows. So you have like Lolcows, you have like drama cows, which are just like, they're always in drama. They're always doing things. You have things like horror cows, which that's all I'm just going to say. That's what they're called, horror cows. There is one horror cow on this list that we can talk about. And it's just, you'll understand. Actually, there's two. Sorry. There's one. There's one horror cow on this list that is just, you'll get the idea once I actually start explaining to you.
You're saying horror.
Horror cow.
Okay. Yes. Not whore cow.
Not whore cow. Horror cow. Okay.
I feel like whore cow is kind of an applicable term for some folks out there, but that's...
Yeah.
All right. You want to Russian roulette it?
I think, well, here's the thing. I'm leaving it up to you, man. Like I said, if you want, I'll start at the top. Yeah. You want to do that? Okay.
Dude, I love to gamble.
So before we really get started, I want to give a few thank yous to a couple of creators, Underflow, Smokey MCC, and Kiwi Tapes. I got a lot of my information from them. There are some creators that I've been following for quite a while. It may not be your cup of tea, but just understand, like, you know, these are the creators that I got a lot of my information from. They're really good about kind of giving general updates. They're doing a lot of the ground research. And before we get into the actual Russian roulette, I need to mention probably the biggest repository of lolcow culture, which is Kiwi Farms. Kiwi Farms, I will say right now, go and view at your own discretion. Understand that it is a public forum. It is a public forum about lolcows. So that's really, if that doesn't kind of draw it out for you, what it's about, what's going to be pertaining to there. You know, I don't want anybody to go there and think it's like a normal forum. It's a forum based around these people and their lives, and it is very in depth. These people do a lot of research, sometimes not with the best intentions, sometimes with good intentions, but it's a kind of a mixed bag. But those are people that you can check out for further deeper research. And obviously you could always just Google these names and usually you're going to end up finding something. So yeah, how do you want to do this? You do want to Russian roulette it, right?
Yeah. Sounds fun.
Okay. So I need you to pick a number between 1 and 26. Any number, it could be any number. And we're just, it's going to be great. Trust
26.
Me. You want 26. Oh no. That's actually really funny.
Your response to that made me second guess, actually.
Well, it's funny because, okay. This is the person that I actually have recently done the most research on. Because there's another creator that I'll shout out right now called June the King that just put out a 2.5 hour documentary about this person. Okay. This is how like intense these things get. These documentaries can get really nuts. They're again, the Chris Chan series is like 50 part, like 30-minute, like insane series. This video that I watched, 2.5 hours, basically a full length movie. And this video was about our number 26. Dark Side Phil. Are you familiar with the name?
Never heard of him.
Never heard of Dark Side Phil, really? DSP, you've never heard that name either?
I mean, I've seen those letters before.
Okay, if you'll look in Kirby's Worst Nightmare, you have a picture of him.
Yeah.
So you have a picture of him. That's Dark Side Phil. Dark Side Phil is probably one of the oldest lolcows. He's been on YouTube for, since basically the beginning. He's one of the earliest like Let's Play YouTubers. He is known for being a part of he was known for being a part of the fighting game community. He actually ended up placing at Evo. He placed 4th in Evo in 2006, based off of a fluke. At the time, they were switching over from the cabinets to the consoles, and he was the only fighting game player who was playing on console. So he knew all the aspects of the console. So he ended up beating some really big names at Evo that year. And that is something that he has held on to like a death grip. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
This guy is a bit of an e-beggar nowadays. He was very slow. In the old days of Let's Playing, it used to be that you would take a video camera and you put it in front of your TV, and that's how you record your gameplay, right? Nowadays, you have capture cards. You have software that you can use to record these things. Phil was really late to that shit. Phil ended up being really late. A lot of what people attribute his lack of growth to is the fact that he was so hard-headed. He never edited any of his videos. So he would upload like these 30-minute spurts of just unedited garbage, right?
Hell yeah.
All the while he was constantly, like, when he was in the fighting game community, he would talk mad shit, constantly talk about, I'll, beat the shit out of you if I ever see you in real life. And of course he was a pussy the moment you met him, right? He's had a number of different famous incidents. For instance, he filed for bankruptcy. I think it was in 2023. And at that point in time, his financial information got leaked, and it was found out that he was paying thousands of dollars to a WWE mobile game to hold a top. Now, there was a person on there called DSP that people suspected to be him, but never confirmed that it was him. But he's been horrible with his money for years and years. He's done multiple condo tours of the places that he's lived where he's made good money from YouTube, and he shows off this money with figurines and collectibles and video games and stuff.
Arcade cabinets.
Yeah, just garbage that he doesn't need. But it's always just, he's done a really good job about ruining a lot of the friendships around him. As I said earlier, he's a bit of an e-beggar. He currently, or he used to, stream on Twitch. I don't know if he still does. I know he lost his partnership with Twitch. But he's had some very interesting ways of making money. A lot of it is just saying, you gotta help me, guys. You gotta help me. My bills and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not gonna be able to eat. I'm not gonna be able to do anything. Come on, guys. We really need this. He at one point had, what was called the vest streak, which I think is very interesting, where he would, if he met a donation goal, he would put on a vest. And that was it. Yeah. But yeah, he's a constant complainer. He's a constant liar, a bit of a narcissist. And probably one of his most famous moments is him getting caught choking the chicken right before stream.
Oh.
He turned on the live stream, went live, decided that, he was going to go about his normal day, didn't realize he had his camera on. And there's a very famous video that I'm not going to link to at all, but you can search for yourself. No, you can search for yourself. All you have to do
is it on the hub?
Oh no, it's on YouTube, I'm sure.
I can watch him spanking it on YouTube.
It's like a chest up. It's literally like him coming out of it. Basically, he's like, and then
he's doing what now?
He's like, shut the fuck up. It's like him, what I mean? It's like post nut. It's like one of the purest forms of post nut clarity that you'll find on the internet.
You get to watch that transcendence.
Yeah, it's a wild experience, and it's of Dark Side Phil of all people.
I'm sickly curious to see this now.
It is, yeah. Let me tell you, Dark Side Phil's a really good starting point because, again, he is one of the oldest Lolcows. Been on the internet for so long, and he's kind of a joke. I want to actually kind of preface this too. I would say that except for one person on this list, don't feel bad for any of these people. A lot of these people end up they can have deceptive personalities. They can have, if you're doing your own research, understand that a lot of these people aren't good people. There is a certain extent to where you can say, oh, it's kind of, dumb how they've been trolled. Or, oh, that's, they really didn't deserve that. But a lot of the times these people brought this upon themselves. They are sometimes disgusting and sick people. Phil is really kind of the lightest way to start. He hasn't really done anything extremely horrible other than just being a general piece of shit. a lot of it's just funny, man. To me, at least. He's one of the lolcows that I think it's always safe to laugh at because he's just a fucking goober, man. He's just a fucking idiot goober who is terrible with his money. I still, every time I look at any aspect of Darkside Phil, I just look at such wasted potential. You know, he could have been, you know, a PewDiePie level of YouTube, you know, with the way that he kind of, you know, innovated Let's Plays, but then shit the bed by not innovating further. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's
So is he like a pretty funny guy?
no, no.
Oh,
He is very, so a lot of his comedy is very, I don't know a good way to describe it other than just being shit. I think at one point he was entertaining. He was kind of like the type of person that you'd watch to rage, or you'd watch him kind of, you know, just dick around and not be good at games. There's a very famous clip of him side by side next to another person playing Tears of the Kingdom, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And for those of you who don't know, there's a lot of puzzles within that game. And one of the puzzles is there's I'm spoiling this puzzle, sorry. There's a sort of like tractor kind of trailer that you have to make to push a bunch of balls into one hole. Phil, being the genius that he is, and he will admit to you that he's probably a genius level intellect, right? Decided that he was going to take each individual ball and place them into the hole one by one. And this is like 35 balls. Whereas, and then the opposite clip shows like all of the balls being pushed as they should be. When it was funny too, because I watched that clip before playing Tears of the Kingdom, and then I got to this, I was like, oh, this is that one. And then I solved it instantly because I was not foolish. And then the thing about it is like something like that'll happen, and then he'll be the type of person to complain about like, oh, I can't believe Nintendo decided that this was good game design. Why the fuck would they, you know, they don't even tell me what to do. Oh man, it's an interesting and odd world to delve into, but oh god. Ugh.
okay. Now is he in the modern day self-aware to the point where he's like, my life is so sad, please give me money? Is that
No,
kind of vibe?
I here's the thing is I think that Phil is somewhat self-aware. I think he understands that because, and here's the thing too, is one of the things that I really liked about the June the King video is the fact that he actually interviewed, or there was interviews within this video with people who support DSP. And they were genuine fans. They were like, you know, I really genuinely like him. I would be really, you know, anytime he says that he needs help and that he's, you know, really struggling, I always feel like, oh man, well, let me give him $5. You know what I mean? And a lot of it's fueled by his trolls too. A lot of people want to see him stick around so they have more, you know, fun stuff to laugh at. As far as if he's self-aware, I think it's a bit of yes and no. I think that he still thinks that he has the ability, and he's had like little, like very small, because he basically peaked in like 2013 or 2014, like 2015, that kind of that era. That's when he peaked, and then it was all just downhill from there. He has not seen growth on any of his channels. He probably never will. But the only like modicum of success that he's seen is there was a tweet that he made about Pro Jared, when that whole fiasco. This is a whole other. Pro Jared had a big cheating scandal. He's a video game reviewer YouTuber, and he had a big cheating scandal. So DSP hopped on the bandwagon, was shitting on Pro Jared, got a bunch of likes, and was like, check out this tweet, guys. I'm famous again. All right, I'm back, baby. It's DSP. You remember me? And was like riding that high for like 6 months. I'm not even joking. Yes. All based on a tweet. Yes. So yeah, Phil is an odd one. He is one of the more, there are, one thing I do want to say about Phil is that there are dedicated channels. With a few of these lolcows, there's individual videos that you could watch. With certain creators, there are dedicated channels that document these people. And I mean document. This is a weird world that I've definitely opened. It's like opening Pandora's box. It's a very weird world out there in terms of lolcows. And when you figure out that some of these people have such a catalog that needs to be sifted through, that there are like channels dedicated to them, that's when you know like you found gold. You know what I mean? Darkside Phil is one of those rabbit holes that you can dive into and you can get lost. I mean, you can get lost. There is so much information about that man. I really want to leave it to me scratching the surface, because the idea I think for this dive is more to open the door, just let you have a peek in. And then if you decide you want to walk through, hey, you want to walk through. Because some of these, maybe not. Okay, maybe not. All right, and I'm gonna give some warnings down the line if we end up hitting on some sensitive topics. But until then, the floor is yours, man. Let's get another. Let's keep going. Let's get another number. You got 1 through 25 now.
So if I pick a number and you're gonna give us a warning ahead of time, like this door when we peek in,
it's gonna be awful.
May not want to enter.
Yes.
You might want to turn around.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Go with 17.
17. All right. 17 is okay. So this is another one that's pretty well known, and actually, so this is one that I think is best paired with another lolcow that is on this list, which would be number 16. So number 17 is our good old Call of Duty playing friend, Wings of Redemption. Do you know that name?
I have heard that name.
Yes.
I've heard that name. He was in wait, was that the guy who was in Creator Clash?
And he fought number 16, which is Boogie 2988.
I knew Boogie would be on this list.
He has to be. He has to be. We'll talk a little bit about Wings first. So Wings of Redemption is an old school Call of Duty player. He was best known for like the montage gameplay, his 1v1s. He did really, really well with 1v1s. And was kind of in that prime era of Call of Duty. When COD first became like when YouTube was really blowing up and Let's Plays were really blowing up and you had montages blowing up, you had gameplay blowing up. At the center of that was Wings of Redemption. He was one of the YouTubers that really fell off and fell from grace. Obviously, yeah, he's now on a podcast with Keemstar and Boogie called the Lolcow podcast. I think it's called Lolcow Live or something like that. And that podcast has seen, some success. Obviously, Keemstar is making fucking great money off of it. People like watching these train wrecks be train wrecks, right? Wings is known. He is very much trolled. He's trolled in the way that it can be funny. It can also be a little sad. He's constantly trolled by people stream sniping his games. By getting killed and then shit on constantly. His kind of downfall, this is one thing I remember from a video about him. His downfall really started with a 1v1 that he hyped himself up on. I really can't remember who the 1v1 was against, but he really hyped himself up. He said, you know what, I'm going to beat your ass. And he didn't deliver. And at that moment, he sort of started having this slow decline where once he wasn't the best, it was like, what am I? It's this almost identity crisis, right? And at that point, man, it's been just him being a fucking, like, there are so many compilations now of him breaking controllers, of him losing his shit on stream, of people trolling him and fucking, jumping into his lobbies and just shitting all over him in game, or just making the game hard for him and just ruining the whole experience for him. And he's kept going. I mean, he is still to this day, I want to say he's still streaming on Twitch. And it's the same thing where it's like, and it's Wings of Redemption is one of those people where it's like, man, why don't you just stop? Right. I understand one thing that you'll see as like a common, denominator with a lot of these lolcows is they don't want to get real jobs. That was the other thing with Darkside Phil, is that even when his online career was failing, he wouldn't get a real job. It's the same thing with Wings of Redemption, where even when his online career was suffering, even when things weren't going well for him, he wouldn't get a real job. He's had to do a lot of really, selling your soul type shit to make ends meet. For instance, he and Boogie fought each other. Now,
yep.
Boogie is another case of a major, major fall from grace. At one point in time, Boogie was known as the Mr. Rogers of YouTube. He was an extremely wholesome guy who played this character called Francis on YouTube. He made all these skits and all these things. Francis would kind of have these rage moments of him breaking stuff or getting really angry. Let me smell your breath, you Mountain Dew drinking bitch. That type of shit.
Mountain Dew drinking bitch. That's the best one, dude.
So
that's quoted to this day.
It is like his only redeeming moment is like, and that's kind of the interesting part about it too, is with these style of lolcows where you can look back and go, man, what happened, right? And Boogie is a shining example of that. Boogie had again, of everyone on this list, I would say he's had the biggest fall from grace. He went from being, like I said, this Mr. Rogers of YouTube, this guy who, his family was, he had a really rough childhood growing up. He went through a lot of struggles with his weight where he was really, really heavy, and then he lost quite a bit of weight, gained a lot of it back, went through a lot of financial struggles because of his own irresponsibility. And now he's just a piece of shit that everyone laughs at, right? Like if you've seen anything or read anything recently, to give you like some catching up, one of the latest videos I saw of him, or one, I guess one of his most recent controversies, was him faking that he had cancer, which is one of the most deplorable things that you can do. There's actually another person that I was going to mention briefly who is I don't think that she would really be considered a lolcow, but she did recently go to jail for faking cancer and receiving donations for it. That's a whole other can of worms I won't open right now. But Boogie did the same thing. He got a diagnosis from medication that he was taking, took that diagnosis and ran with it and said, hey, it's actually cancer. Told the internet, told everyone, hey, I got cancer. Help me. And once he got exposed, it was just this whole shitstorm. I mean, people had already been kind of over Boogie. He earlier, before he got exposed for faking cancer, he had a pump and dump crypto scam that he was part of. He had been just kind of constantly on the downward trend of people's social credit, I guess. He just couldn't do anything good. He couldn't do anything right. There was a really, really, really amazing documentary made by Mike Klum that shed a lot of light onto Boogie's financial records, how he was handling his money, which is fucking horribly.
Horrendously.
It talked about his new girlfriend, who is, I want to say now she's 21, but at the time when they started dating, she was 19. To give you context, Boogie is 54 or 57. He's in his 50s somewhere. Bit of an age gap, it's legal, but still just kind of weird. He opened up about how, he went through a whole interview process where he tried to go through like a hiring agency, but he had nothing but excuses. And that's when you kind of, the light really was shed on him of like, and a lot of people went, why the fuck would you do this to yourself? Because you're just shooting yourself in the foot. But the light really was shed on him, and it showed, holy shit, this guy really is as horrible as we think he is. He's just, oh God. Anyways, there are plenty of videos about Boogie. There are plenty of escapades that he's still getting up to. Like I said, him and Wings are both on the Lolcow. I forgot. I need to show you some pictures. So let's see. 17. Here we go. Here's Wings of Redemption. There we go. There's a good old boy.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
And then of course you've seen this man right here. That's Boogie.
Blech, delete that one.
I'm keeping it up so you know the order. But go ahead.
Boogie is like I said, I think the only one I really knew as soon as you said Lolcow. That's the one that came to mind. But man, I remember like I was there live as it was happening. He was so wholesome when he first came onto the scene, just playing games and like really kind of spreading positivity. And then he had the whole Francis raging over Pokemon cards and bring me my goddamn Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
And it was so good, and then I don't even know exactly what the turning point was, but yeah, man, I just remember like, and then next thing I know, he's in a crypto scam, and then he's just out there just being ridiculous, and he is self-aware, and he's like, I am a piece of shit and I am sad, so give me your money because I'm so sad. Yes. Is how he comes across to me. Yes. Which is just, it looks like a sad existence from the outside looking in. Mm-hmm. And then I remember when you were talking about his controversies, I just bumped my desk. You'll have to edit that out. Ha! One of the other controversies I remember was when he was like begging for donations. Life is so hard. Got bills to pay, and he was sitting in front of 2 arcade machines and shelves full of collectibles.
Yep.
Yeah, fucking guy. And it's just like you said, it's like, why? Just stop. Just go get just working at McDonald's would be better than what you are doing.
Well, and he's still, the thing about it is he's still getting residual money from YouTube. It's not like he's not making any money. He's just not making enough money from YouTube. He's making pretty decent. I mean, listen, if I could get the fucking money that he's making right now on the Lolcow podcast, I'd be there in an instant. Holy shit. He's making solid money. Funnily enough, going back to our number 26, one of the other people who was reached out to with an offer for the Lolcow podcast was Darkside Phil. So yeah, it's funny how that whole trifecta kind of works out. Where what could have been, and again, that was another one where it's like, man, why the fuck would you not do that? Because I want to say they got like a $20,000 signing bonus or some dumb shit like that when they first initially, and they're getting like $3,000 a month for the fucking podcast. Like that's, oh my God, that's like, that's for normal people, that's a great amount of money, right? You get a fucking part-time job and you're set, right? Like that's great money. Holy shit. For showing up for like once a week to record and it's already going to get edited for you and everything. Holy shit. We're clearly doing something wrong.
Yeah. Where's my $20,000 signing bonus?
I don't have that.
We'll have to reach out to Sarah.
Sarah, get on it. All right, man. So we've got 26, 16, and 17. What is your next number, my good friend?
8.
8. Okay. Number 8. Oh, holy shit.
What's behind this door? Give me the warning.
This is the warning. This is the first one where I'm going to, this is the first one that, oh man, I want to try and paint a picture for you. TikTok has really opened the door to a lot of lolcows. A lot of these lolcows were discovered, as the internet has sort of progressed and as we have journeyed through from forums to, YouTube videos and things like that to now this short form kind of brain rot content. The box just continues to be like opened and, everything is, and anything is flowing out of it. Right. Jupiter the Hybrid is one such person that I'm going to go ahead and I want you to look at this person. Okay. And I want to give a warning too. There is going to be discussions of how the fuck do endangering children. How the fuck do we say that?
The official new term is actually
PDF
child
files.
Sexual abuse material.
But okay. I'm trying to think about what's safe for YouTube.
Oh, CSAM is the abbreviation.
CSAM? Oh, interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Because it used to be CP, but the idea of the P part of it is that legal P is consensual, and what's happening in those instances is not consensual. Therefore, they kind of updated to CSAM. And this guy, yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. Okay. So that is Jupiter the Hybrid.
I don't like it.
Yeah. Listen, this is when we start getting into the nitty gritty. Like I said, there are some of these people who it's fun to laugh at them. This is
at me.
This is where we start getting into the darker side of lolcows. This is where there's almost this sort of internet vigilantism that happens with lolcows, where people are documenting these things for posterity, giving information about these people to the police, right? It's crazy. So Jupiter is a guy who, another guy, rough childhood, clearly something going on upstairs. Not everything's right? But just because of that, it doesn't mean that he has any excuse for any of his actions, right? He was discovered or sort of blown up by a creator named Linda Binda, who started interviewing Jupiter after she found some of his content. I don't really remember exactly what he was talking about, but during the interview, Jupiter fell hard. Okay. Jupiter fell in love with Linda Binda. Okay. And to impress Linda, to show his devotion to Linda, he opened up like a fucking book. Okay. And it was discovered that Jupiter was able to create homunculi and was performing rituals and was having children with these homunculi who just so happen to be stuffed animals. Okay. He was in Discord calls with people who were decoys, to my knowledge, and were claiming to be underage, and were saying, hey, if I were to send you pictures, would you be okay with that? And he was like, yeah, sure. As long as you're not going to turn me in. Right. It was so insane how quickly he began to unravel all of the horrific and crazy and weird things that he was into, right? It was like And this guy really came out of nowhere. I mean, when the first like clips on TikTok started circulating about Jupiter, it was him and a few others that all at the same time, kind of this avalanche of like weird PDF file, you know, TikTok
Can you
creators, like they all showed up at once. Like, well, where the fuck did you come from?
can you give me some context as far as like the years when he's rising in popularity and like
So we're talking about within the last like 4 years, like
so this guy
beginning of COVID. I'd say like into like from 2020 into like 2022, in that area is when he's really starting to gain some traction. Um,
what's he doing? Like what's his shtick?
he doesn't have one. I mean, literally, it's his main. So this is the thing. This is one of those lolcows that is definitely a lesser known lolcow. There have been some bigger creators. Oompaville has made a video about kind of covering a general idea about him. But for the most part, he is not like one of the more mainstream. He's not your Dark Side Phil. He's not your, Boogie 298. He is one of those like, this is what happens when you start digging. Okay. This is who you end up finding. Um,
What was he making? What content was he gaming or
oh no,
like
he was just talking. He was just on, he was, so he, so the one of the things with TikTok is that you can do TikTok lives. So he would go on TikTok live and just talk with people.
this
Um,
goofy looking motherfucker just goes on TikTok live and talks?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of his content nowadays is these kind of like cringy videos where he's like, you don't know the half of my true self. And he's like got these TikTok filters on and like, demon eye. He uses demon eyes a lot. He uses like skulls and like, it's all about death. He definitely poses
Sick.
himself as being this sort of like dark lord that, master of kung fu, master of like, he's like master of dark arts. Like he's a very like, he knows everything. He used to be an assassin. He used to be a hacker with Anonymous.
Shit.
Obviously all of this shit is bullshit. It's all lies. He makes a ton of shit up, right? Um,
But the homunculi, that's real, right?
the homunculi is a My Little Pony named Sheratora, which, by the way, fire name. I don't know how he came up with that. Amazing name. One of the only cool things about Jupiter is his
But
name ability to name. He was, I don't know how. The thing
he
about it is
was
he was doing blood rituals with this stuffed animal to create homunculi, which are his children. He has like 4 of them. They're all stuffed animals. And recently, in a recent video, to prove and ask for forgiveness for being said CSAM person, he burnt his homunculi. He burnt them all. He set
he
them
burnt
ablaze.
Shiratora?
He burnt Sheratora outside of it, which was extremely dangerous. The video is like, holy shit, how did you not burn down? Because he lives in a group home. I need to also give some context. Jupiter was abused in his younger days. It kind of it doesn't excuse, but it explains kind of his own behavior. Jupiter was adopted and was abused by his older brothers, who he then went on to abuse his younger siblings, right? So it's a whole fucked up like cycle and story. There is a lot of, videos out there that kind of deep dive. His sister has been interviewed. People have found he has 2 brothers that are both in prison. One of them for CSAM, the other for not knowing what the word no means. We're just going to say that. And so, the guy has had a really fucked up life. He's one of those people that has been disadvantaged and has just been dealt a really bad hand, but that doesn't excuse any of his actions, right? None of that ever excuses anything. Just because you've had a hard life, there are plenty of people that I know who've had very difficult lives. I've had a pretty difficult life. Kirby has had a rough life. Like there are people who've had rough lives, maybe not to the same extent, but that does not excuse those actions, right? So we are going to move on though. Jupiter is again, before we move on, I guess I should say, Jupiter is one of those types of lolcows that he is definitely a very niche lolcow. He's not someone that you're going to see be covered on, and obviously a lot of these people you're not going to be seeing covered on like mainstream media. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this is because it is an extremely niche thing to like have knowledge of. I know that when I talk to all of my friends, There's only one of my friends who has any sort of knowledge of any of these people. And it's only one lolcow compared to like, I mean, there's hundreds. There are multiple iceberg videos. When I was doing my research, funnily enough, there were plenty of lolcows that I was like, man, I've never even heard of these fucking people. Who are they? Now I kind of want to look into them. You know what I mean? So I really just kind of like.
Did you just call me out like that? Like without calling me out like
no,
that?
No. I'm talking about one of the more like.
I was like, this son of a bitch, because I started at the very beginning of the episode. Like, I've heard of like one of these guys.
No.
And then you're like, so I know there's one guy and he knows one guy.
I was thinking more like of more of the niche ones. Because Boogie's a pretty well-known guy amongst like internet,
no, I
right?
know.
But in terms of like the more niche ones, there's a couple other ones that are like, and I mean, I have some really niche ones on this list, right? Some ones that it's like, who the fuck, how would you even know about this, right? But look,
I feel like my knowledge and potentially a lot of other people's knowledge of these folks comes from not anything that they do, but when a large mainstream content creator reacts to something stupid that they did or said. And then you're like, oh, this Boogie guy, and now Asmongold is talking about. Well, that might not be a good one to talk about this week.
Oh God, yeah. Funnily enough, is you have people who are still considered like mainstream content creators who are themselves considered lolcows in some circles. That's the kind of thing about lolcows, is that it's a very broad term. It's why I was talking a bit about like the subsection of lolcows. There are lolcows that are kind of really, really, really niche. Not very big communities are covering them. But you also have, people like Ethan Klein, H3H3. He's a huge content creator still to this day. A lot of people consider him a lolcow. iDubbbz and his wife, Anissa, both considered lolcows nowadays. And a lot of it has to do with not necessarily their overall careers, but their actions in current day. These people tend to do some stuff that is seen by like the general populace as kind of cringe. And a lot of the times I can be like, yeah, I kind of get that. But there are some times when people get labeled as lolcows and I'm like, I don't really get that, but okay. But a lot of the lolcows that I tend to follow are some of the more niche ones, just because they're more interesting. I don't really give a shit about a lot of the bigger lolcows. Everything that's needed to be said about them has been said. Some of these smaller people, it's like, holy shit, why are you posting this online, bud? What's going on here? You know what I mean? But yeah,
why don't you stop?
Yes,
that is the question.
Why won't you stop?
Why don't you stop? He can't keep getting away with this.
He can't keep getting away with this. Oh God. All right. So now, my friend, we have covered number 8, Jupiter the Hybrid. I need you to pick another number between 1 and 25. Excluding 12. Okay, 12. There you go. Okay, so 12. All right. Holy shit. This is another
I love every time I say a number, you look at it, you're like, oh, you want that one? Oh
no. This one I'm going to, for the sake of the fact that I want to, I am going to pair number 12 and number 13. They don't really have, they have a little bit of connection, but they don't have a major connection, but I will be able to connect them. So number 12, I'm going to go ahead and post a picture. This is the picture that you saw earlier. This is the white Bowser. Okay.
This is the picture I saw earlier.
So white Bowser is a lolcow that was brought to prominence by a few people that I mentioned earlier, which is Kiwi Tapes and Smokey MCC. Now, one of the things that, and I will mention this again, one of the things that you'll see as a common pattern with a lot of these lolcows is that they have a real hard time not shutting the fuck up. Okay? They have a really hard time with limiting what they're saying. Okay? A lot of them have no filter. A lot of them are just saying everything that needs to be said and everything they want to say for whatever reason. The white Bowser is exactly one of those people. He is an oversharer. He tells everything about his life, right? He has regularly doxed people within his life and doxed aspects of his life, right? It is not hard to find information. Like when I say that I'm not going to be the one to say anything about these people. It's not because the information is hard to find. It's because it's really easy to find, right? You could look up the white Bowser and get his full name I guarantee you that way more information that I'm not going to disclose here is out there. But you have to understand, like, that's just who these people are, okay? The reason why we know so much about these Lolcows is because they won't stop telling us about themselves, okay? White Bowser is another interesting case, okay? He is a big anime enjoyer, but he likes a very specific kind of anime, right? Do you know what lolly is?
Unfortunately, I do.
Yes. So I knew you did. We had there's been other creators I think that we've talked about that have imbibed in this. I guess if you want to sort of say that.
I don't want to say that.
White Bowser is one of those creators, right? White Bowser enjoys lolly anime. One of the most famous ones is Chihuahua on a Monday. That's the one that he constantly argues in favor of and says there's nothing about it, nothing wrong with the. Anyways, we're not going to go into the details. But he did host a Discord. He had a Discord of his own where he ended up sharing some of this illicit content with people who weren't of that appropriate age. Now, we have talked in the past on this podcast about creating safe spaces for youths online. It's possible. It's totally possible to have people who are younger within communities and be able to make safe environments for them. He didn't at all. He's had this sort of long-term feud going on with Smokey and Kiwi. Smokey and Kiwi actually tricked him into thinking that they were going to start a podcast together, which in turn led them to actually start their own podcast that has been going on now for it's called Too High for Stupid. And great name.
I am interested.
It's a total lolcow podcast. It's a very interesting podcast, but it all started because they invited White Bowser. They said, "Hey, you're going to be a host." It was all a guise. They were actually going to expose him for what he did. Now, White Bowser worked at a movie theater. Okay, this is his most famous incident that I will tell you about very briefly. White Bowser worked at a movie theater. He was very gung-ho about working at that movie theater. One particular evening, he was ending his shift. They were having their in-team meeting, right? And at the end of that meeting, everyone was going to put their hand in and do "Go Team," right? They're going to whoa, yeah. They're going to lift their hands up, "Go Team," right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. One of the people that worked there, one of the younger employees, female employees, was going to leave and said, "Yeah, I don't want to do that lame shit," right? She was going to leave, but White Bowser said, "Nuh-uh, you gotta be a member of this team," and reached back to grab onto her shoulder, but like the anime protagonist that he is, missed her shoulder and landed about midsection. Okay?
Just graze her breast?
We're going to say graze, but it wasn't a graze. It was a bit longer than a graze. It was a
graze and a squeeze.
It was a grasp. It was a grasp.
A grasp.
It was a grasp. It was a solid grasp. This is to his. He describes it as his. Literally as his anime moment, right? Like a common trope in anime is the falling into the girl with the big boobs, and then
and then your nose bleeds and you fall over and go.
Yeah, exactly, right. That's how he described it, right? Mind you, this girl was, I want to say 16 or 17. He's like in his mid-20s at this point.
Stinky.
Yeah, so not good. He was then obviously released from the movie theater that he worked at.
Released from his duty at the theater.
Released from his duties, yes. He came into work the next day and his manager was like, "Yeah, but get the fuck out of here." He mind you, whenever he's telling his side of the story, he's always painting himself as like, "I did nothing wrong." One of the he has a very famous quote. So he actually contacted, obviously he was going through a lot whenever he got fired, and he contacted his therapist. And his therapist kind of quoted him saying, "Listen, man, I need to, tell you, like, I need more context, I need more information." And he took that as, "Hey, my doctor said I'm not a pedo. It's fine. Like, if my doctor says it, that means it's cool." When what his doctor really says, like, let me like hear more of what's going on. And also I'm like not in office, so chill the fuck out. Yeah. So he has gone on to again, one of the things about Lolcows, they won't shut the fuck up. He has doxed his victim. He has not only doxed his victim, he has doxed the theater that he's worked at. He has doxed the sister of his victim. He at one point put out a YouTube video and he got a comment, right? That was pretty I really wish I would have found the comment, because it's really, I know that it was pretty lackluster, but he interpreted it as a genuine threat to the theater. And so at one point he rushed up to the movie theater and said, we got to get everyone out of here. There's been a threat and blah, blah, blah. We got to call so we had the cops were in, like, it was a big deal, right? The cops were called in. Everyone, I'm pretty sure the theater was evacuated. Right. All because of this YouTube like it wasn't like anybody called him. It was literally a YouTube comment that was left under his stuff. And he freaked out, man. And so he caused this big scene. They went through this huge hassle, and he described it as, he thought it was going to be like his heroic moment, right? This was going to be him. This is
saving the day.
Yeah. Saving the day. And it didn't turn out that way at all. People were like, what the fuck, man? Like once it all came out, like they took his threat very seriously. And once it came out, like, oh, this was a YouTube comment, they're like, what the fuck? What are you doing? You idiot. Right?
Amazing.
Yeah. And so, he's had his fair share of idiocies and dipshit moments. And he's had a few feuds, right? This is going to lead into our number 13. Right.
Real quick before you move on here. What is his thing? Was he is he just a talker?
Just a talker. He did cosplay. He did a little bit of cosplay.
That's cosplay?
I want to say
Fuck
that
off.
I'm now this is me trying to pick my brain about how things happened. I'm pretty sure he fucking hell. He made that cosplay, and he like entered a local contest and placed like second. And that was one of his most well-known videos, is him like gloating about like, your boy, it says his full name, got second place at this. He has a very distinct like cadence about him too. It's really funny, man. He's a fucking goober. He's an idiot. He's probably a danger to people if he's not, checked. It's just, and here's the thing, is that this is where these sorts of things, it can be very deceptive, right? Because when you look at things kind of from the outside and you don't know the whole story, like if you were to just watch a couple clips of White Bowser, you'd be like, man, this guy's a fucking idiot goober. I don't know why people like fuck with him so much. And then you realize the type of weird, gross shit that he's done. You go, oh, okay, I get it. So, but yeah, he's had his fair share of interesting times, right? And he's also had, again, his fair share of feuds. He feuded with Kiwi Tapes. He feuded with Smokey MCC, and he feuded with none other, one of the greatest hip hop artists of all time, our number 13, Sylas.
Damn.
Do you know
I've
anything?
never heard that name, and I hate that I'm looking at those teeth. All right, so Sylas.
So number 13 is Sylas. Sylas is a rapper. That's all I'm saying.
Like
What if I just
that's the end of it?
What if I just didn't say anything else? No, I gotta play. Sylas is Sylas is an interesting case. Sylas is another one of those people that he has people who dedicate their entire channels to just keeping track of this man. There have been multiple sagas within this guy's life. So many conflicts, so many feuds. This man's fighting with everyone on the internet. One of the people he had a small beef with was White Bowser. Okay. It was a big nothing burger, right? It was just, they got pinned against each other by trolls. They were talking shit, throwing shade, whatever. Another person who is more famous is hip hop artist Danny Brown, who is one of my favorite hip hop artists. You may not know him. Folks at home might. Danny Brown had a very public feud on his podcast with Sylas, which is the funniest thing to me, that a, huge, like fairly big industry rapper is being like, yeah, fuck you, Cyrax, who is this like small nothing burger, like lolcow idiot.
I
Cyrax
can't
got
stop
his,
staring at this picture. Is it a mugshot?
yes, I think so.
Of
Cyrax,
course it is.
Cyrax has been arrested a couple times. Cyrax has had the cops call him a couple times. Cyrax is a troubled young man. Okay, he he's been going through it. All right. He started out his YouTube career. He's been on YouTube for a long time. He's been on the internet for a long time, right? There's a lot that people can dial back to, and he's well known for trying to be a rapper. He has a number of albums, and he's got a lot of music that he's released. None of it's good. It's all terrible. I have tried listening to a couple tracks. They're all awful. I really like, I cannot stress enough how bad this shit is, right? And because Cyrax has a certain, he's obviously, I mean, I'll put pictures up of people as we talk about them, but he's got some, disabilities. He's got some stuff wrong with him. Again, these things don't like give any excuse for the awful shit that he's done, right? He's hit on decoys posing as underage girls. He's a compulsive liar. He actually stole his name from another YouTube creator, right? Like and he's really, really manipulative. He likes to draw people in because of the way that he looks. Kind of, he uses people's initial kindness towards him and then destroys that kindness by like manipulating people and just using them for his own benefit, right? He very regularly threatens people online. And I mean, like, talks constantly about wanting to end people and talks constantly about, like, if I ever see you in the streets, constantly getting into it with the people. I'm pretty sure he lives with his grandparents, constantly getting into it with them, but like physically, right? His stepdad actually got interviewed a couple years ago, and he talks about how he got into it with him, right? The guy has just had a history of just kind of being like, you could argue like, oh, he was a troubled youth, but it turned into him being an adult piece of shit, right? Like there's no redeemable aspects of him. He is one of those people that, again, when you initially hear about him, you go, man, that's like, this guy seems like he's had such a hard life. And like, he's lived, kind of, lower income and, hasn't really had all the opportunities. He's got a lot going on with him. He looks fucking crazy. Like you want to pity the guy until you start peeling the layers back, until you start diving deeper. I'm going to say this again, and I'll say it for, again, every single one of these people, except for one of them. I don't want you to feel bad for these people. I know it's easy to say, or I know it's easy to look, like if you start doing your own research, it's very easy to go, man, like, they've had such a hard life, or they had this and that go on. No, these people are awful. A lot of them are, Cyrax included. He is kind of a huge piece of shit. But man, does he make some horrible music. I don't know what to tell you. He's like, it's so bad, man. I really wish that I feel like, I don't think anybody's going to copyright claim if I use his music as our outro, but it would be really funny.
Yeah, and then he's going to hear about it, and then he's going to start threatening to beat our asses in the streets.
It's going to be great. I would listen. If Cyrax wants to fucking smoke, I'm down for it. I'm ready to start this.
Yeah?
I'm ready to start this.
Cyrax,
beef, baby.
You hear that, bitch? You want the smoke from Sylas here? Where's it at?
God. Oh, man. Anyways, so that's Cyrax. Oh, my God. Ooh.
That's Sylas Cyrax?
No, Sylas X versus Cyrax. There you go. The beef is starting. I'm starting it. PPV. So anyway, so Cyrax, we're calling you out. Fuck you. Anyways,
I'm saying, based on this mugshot, he doesn't look like he could throw hands.
He's about 5 foot tall. he's an interesting guy. I want to say that he's about our age, actually. So
I feel like if the two of us were squared off against him, we could just separate by about 6 feet. Like, his eyes are very narrow, so he couldn't see us both in his peripherals.
Oh my God. He is one of those lolcows that I will say, you definitely, like, if you're wanting a deep dive and you're wanting to like really like start digging, man, there's a lot out there about him, and he is something else. Anyway,
so he just releases raps, or I'm assuming he's got some videos of him
a lot of it is like, so initially the way that he wanted to get famous was by rapping and by being a musical artist. And then he's just been creating these, like, he creates like basically vlogs where he like updates people about his life. Obviously he's gotten on a lot of like Skype interviews, or not Skype, like Discord interviews. Holy shit, I'm fucking old. He's gotten on a lot of like Discord interviews, and just gotten online a lot and talked to people, and made a fool of himself very regularly. Holy shit. Very regularly does he make a fool of himself.
Is he self-aware?
No, absolutely not. He thinks that a lot of the things, like, he understands that he has trolls, but a lot of the times he has one of those fan bases that kind of hate watches him and trolls him to the point where he thinks that he has fans. And he is not, I would say that he's probably not of sound enough mind to realize that it's people fucking with him, because he always falls for it every single time. The people posing as like underage people has happened multiple times, and it's one of those things where he just never learns. People have come to him with like record deals and shit like that, or like, just fucking with them, and it happens all the time. And he has like certain people that he blames, and it's a whole thing. But yeah, he has no fucking clue. He thinks that he's just famous. I will say he is aware that he has trolls, but overall he thinks that I would say he thinks he's famous.
Why don't they just stop? Just stop.
What, stop trolling him?
No, why doesn't he just stop being on the internet?
It's like an addiction, man. There's so many of these people that I think they've been doing it for so long. And yeah, here's the thing. There's so many of these people that it's like, man, why don't you just shut the camera off? Why don't you just stop? Why don't you take a step back? Why don't, all of your problems could be solved if you just didn't post online, because people would not give a fuck. Obviously there are still people like whenever certain lolcows kind of go dark for a while, there are people that still linger and search and wait. They still hold out hope that there's going to be something. There's going to be some sort of update. Daniel Larson is one of those lolcows that whenever something happens and there's a period of silence, they're like, man, what the fuck is going to happen? And when something happens, it's like, oh shit, oh my God. But man, I don't know. That's one of those unanswered questions. I don't have a time. Like, I don't have an answer for. Why don't they just get off the internet? I feel like if I were to answer it, I'd say it's probably an addiction. It's probably they want the attention,
That's exactly what I was thinking. They got that hit of it, They got that sweet high of people like me and love me. Yeah. And now they can't quit. Mm-hmm. Which I just don't understand, because nobody's ever liked me ever, but maybe someday we'll have more than like whatever viewers we have now, and I'll just be all high on the addiction. I'll never quit, and I'll be a lolcow.
Yeah. That's the thing too, man, is it can happen to anybody. You never know.
Oh, dude, shit. It would actually be kind of epic. Like 15 years from now, somebody goes back and looks at this clip, and then they like splice it in the forward clip where I'm, I don't know, dancing on my head or something stupid for lolcow attention.
Yeah. You're whipping it out for Harambe.
But I tell you what I will not be doing. It's talking to kids.
There you go. God, yeah. And there are certain patterns that a lot of these lolcows follow, and that's one that is so persistent. I don't know why. I don't know what it is with internet creators. I don't know what it is with lolcows. That's a very persistent thing that ends up happening. But man, pick another number, buddy. We got 1 through 25. I think we got time for like 1 or 2 more, maybe 3. I don't know. We'll see. Some of these people I could go on pretty deep dives about, but then others I'm like, I can get some surface level information.
Let's go with the age of consent. 18.
18. All right. 18.
Does this person abide by the age of consent?
Funnily enough, no. Not at all. This is who I would this is what I think probably a lot of people would consider. He's an innovator of sorts. But not
innovator.
And not he is the probably classified as one of the earliest TikTok predators. He is the bidet. So yeah, that's a kind of a shitty picture of him, but that's the picture that I found.
Kind of looks like a turtle.
Yeah. He's a very odd looking fellow. So back in the early days of TikTok. So for those of you who don't know, TikTok used to be Musical.ly, and then when it became TikTok in like 2018, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think I ever
it's
heard of TikTok before COVID, dude.
yeah. Well, and that's kind of when it blew up in popularity. But yeah, before it was TikTok, it was Musically. Musically was basically a lip syncing app. It was kind of like the building blocks to TikTok, and then obviously it grew into TikTok. It's
Is it
kind of how like
functionally the same?
functionally yes, except it didn't have a lot of the functions like people weren't doing like I think TikTok introduced like the duet system. They introduced like longer form content. Like now you can post like 10+ minute long videos on TikTok. TikTok innovated a lot from where Musically was. And there were a lot of good things that came out of TikTok. There's a lot of dog shit that came out of TikTok, and the bidet is one of them. Um,
The
Obviously, I mentioned
bidet.
the bidet. Yes. So it's Budday. That was his username. His name
The
is
man
Buddy.
wants to be
but
named after a toilet paper replacement,
That's
like a bidet
that's
for your
bidet.
toilet.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. No, his name is Buddy, but he just called himself the bidet. I don't know, man. I don't name
The
these people.
bidet.
The bidet. So, anyways, the bidet. So I mentioned earlier the TikTok duet system. He is one of the people that like if you go back in time and you look at TikTok cringe compilations, he's probably lurking in a couple of those compilations. This guy used to do a lot of duets, okay? And he used to do a lot of duets with all the different types of people, but noticeably he was doing duets with a lot of young people, and it was a little weird. Um,
Oh,
yeah, it was a lot of like the thing about it is I think that TikTok, I mean TikTok's still a fucking nightmare, right? But it has sort of become a lot more mainstream. It's a little bit more controlled. It's a little bit more advertiser friendly. Let's say that. Um, the bidet was really, like I said, he was one of the first people to get exposed. People started coming forward and saying, "Hey, I gave this, or like this guy is in my DMs, or he's Snapchatting me, and he's asking for stuff. I'll let your mind fill in the blanks for what he's asking for, right?"
it's
And a
Bob's
lot of
and
these
Vagine,
people,
isn't it?
it's yeah, it's the vajay. He's the bidet looking for vajay.
I
Um,
get you.
he was clearly looking for all the wrong things in all the wrong places. He got exposed very quickly. This guy was pretty short lived. Um, he made a whole apology. Like he went dark for a while after he got exposed. And he came back like a year later with like an apology video. He was basically like explaining like, oh, this is what actually happened, and I got blamed for all this shit. Somebody leaked my nudes. I didn't send them. I swear to God, I didn't send them, but someone leaked them. I don't know how they got them, but they sent them. That type of shit, right? And the guy is just a fucking, overall, he's an idiot. Like, he's just genuinely like kind of a dumb guy. I wouldn't say there's anything particularly wrong with him, but he's just overall just a dumb person. Like I said, he did these duets. They were super cringy. There's this one trend that was going around for a long time, where it was like, why do good girls like bad guys? Like that type of shit, where it was like, basically you start out like dressed all like nice and like, oh, proper. And then you like, the music drops and like you turn around, you're like in your bad boy outfit. And he did that trend, and it was,
He looks old.
he was in his 20s in that picture. Yeah. I want to say he's probably about 30 now. 30, yeah, probably like mid 30s.
Dude looks old as hell.
He was like 25, I think, or 26 in that picture.
You know what I'm noticing is a running theme between all of these gentle humans that you've posted.
What is that?
They all have a really weak chin, man. They all got no fucking chin.
Oh my God. I don't know. I
mean,
think Boogie's sticking his chin out there. He's got a strong chin.
Okay, yeah, Boogie is the strongest chin, and what is that saying about these people?
Oh no. Holy shit. Yeah.
Damn, we're about to have a list of 26 people come and try to fight us next week.
I don't know if we'll get through all 20. I mean, if you're down to go through all 26, I'd be fucking absolutely down. I don't know if people are going to want to sit through all 26 people. Because some of these people, I might speed run through all of them because I do kind of want to talk about all these people. But I could also save it for another deep dive. Episode 20, I'm going to lose all the information by then. But yeah, no. So the bidet is another case of just like, he's just a fucking weirdo. There's nothing really more to him. He was a lot of how he got famous. Because the thing about it was a lot of it was like kind of wholesome of like, oh, it's like goofy guy, but he's doing his thing. And then people started to notice a pattern of like, it's kind of weird, huh? You know? Like
Yeah,
you ever notice Bud over there always duetting kids? A little
the
weird.
guy who is apparently in his 20s but looks like he's 50. Maybe it is just a bad picture, like you said, but that's what I started to say earlier. Is I got the impression just from this picture that you posted that like he was doing kind of young, trendy things, and he's an older guy, so it was quirky, and that got him attention.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically how it happened. But yeah, it was. Oh man, yeah. Anyways, all right.
And then what do? Slide in those DMs.
Yeah, for some fucking reason, I don't know why, but yeah, every time. It's like, and the thing about it is like a lot of these people just get caught so easily. I don't know, like, what did you expect, right? They don't try and hide it. They don't try and do anything. Like they're just out in the open, fucking letting it all hang out like idiots. Like, what the fuck? Actually, no, it's good that they're letting it all hang out because it means they get fucking caught and exposed. Fuck them. Anyways, holy shit.
True.
All right, so give me another number. Let's go. We're on a roll here.
14.
All right. Number 14 is okay. This is actually this one is not, I don't have to give any warnings. This one's just she has done some bad shit, but I'm not going to talk about any of the really horrible shit that she's done. This is number 14, our first female of the list. This is
I was thinking
Amber
that. Let me see that
Lynn
chin.
Reed. She got
Ooh. Sorry, it's a nice chin. I'm really sorry. That's a nice chin.
So, Amber Lynn Reed is another person that sort of had a fall from grace. She started out very wholesomely as a beauty and diet YouTuber. She started out with...
I could have guessed that.
She started out with basically the whole idea behind her YouTube channel was that she was going to go on a weight loss journey, which is very, there's a lot of people that have found a lot of success with that. There's a lot of people that were really rooting for her. And
I think I might have heard of this woman.
Yeah. So Amber Lynn, she would, the way that she got started was she'd post videos talking about her journey. So she would talk about her diet, how she was exercising, the struggles that she had. Obviously being a bigger person, it's not easy to lose weight, right? I got a little extra meat on me.
Same, brother.
I've gone up and down in weight. It's natural. That's just what happens in life, right? And if you get, even bigger, it's harder to lose that weight. And she was inspired by other people to make a YouTube channel to help inspire other people to follow her journey. That journey went horribly. That journey went fucking terribly. To give you an idea about how horribly it went, Amber Lynn, this is again another person who has a litany of people who follow her and who track her every movement. She has been posting online for a number of years, right? She's gone through all sorts of ups and downs. And one of the things that I found, this is something that I didn't know, right? I knew that she had sort of had a reversal in her weight loss journey. I did not realize she had her own weight timeline. There are people who have been, so in her journey, she says, hey, this is my starting weight. This is when and then she'll come back and be like, this is the weight that I'm at this week, or this is the weight that I'm at this week, right? Where she talks about, going up and down in weight, right? There's a tracker, basically. There's a weight.
The internet.
The internet has gathered and calculated. Now, it's only gone up to October of 2023. Her starting weight was 290. Okay. Her current weight, I want to say, is about 600. I want to say that she's closing it.
Oh my
Yes,
god.
I want to say that she. So as of October of 2023, she was 5'10". I want to say that now, I could be wrong about this, but I want to say she's closing in on like the 600 mark. Um, One of the things that Amberlynn, this is one of those stories that like, man, it's when you hear the initial story, it's like, fuck, man, that's just so sad, man. Um, but when you start to peel back the layers again, you start realizing, man, like this person has been like really kind of awful and manipulative with their journey, constantly. And here's the thing, it's one thing to make a promise to your viewers and be like, man, I'm trying but I keep failing. She's just not trying. Like, she's very actively like not trying. She doesn't care. I guess I should preface that she has had some controversies involving abuse with like her partners. There was some stuff about animal abuse that I am not going to go into, because of the fact that I don't have all the knowledge of that. She's been kind of an asshole to people, like, just overall. She plays it off as like the haters are just gonna hate, and like all my haters are just trying to bring me down. When in actuality, she's the one who keeps bringing herself down. She's the one who keeps, people want to genuinely support her. I think that she's one of the people that like people would really genuinely cheer if she actually started losing weight. You know what I mean? If she actually, the only time that she ever had pity was when she got a cancer diagnosis, about 2 years ago. And it's one of those things where it's like, man, like you really like, you get given all these signs, you get given all these chances. When are you going to take the right one? When is it going to be the right time to, take a step forward and go, you know what? I do need to make a change in my life. And she just never does. It's one of the more sad ones to watch. Obviously you have moments of being like, what, Amber, what the fuck? And you can laugh and, but this is one that, man, it's just fucking, it sucks, man. She's just not, she's one that I stopped following a while back because it's the same sort of pattern. She says, you know what, this is it. I'm going to change. And she starts, and she does actually lose some weight. She's the biggest accomplishment that she always refers back to, and she's been referring back to it for years, is she lost 80 pounds. And it's like, man, that's such a big accomplishment. Good job.
That's huge.
And then, yeah. And she refers back to that all the time, but she keeps going up in weight. She keeps gaining, and she keeps, it's just sad, man. It sucks. I would wish the best for Amber, but at the same time, it's like, you've been kind of an asshole, and you've also been, again, it's hard to, when she's been such a compulsive liar, she constantly makes shit up, and like, she's constantly lying about things to get sympathy from her viewers. A lot of people it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. You know what I mean?
I would assume at this point, maybe, I don't want to sound insensitive here, but I assume if you're at that weight, you're not working. I mean, content creation is her full-time job. So yeah, okay. That's exactly what I was kind of leading towards there. If content creation is your full-time job and you began this job on the premise of losing this weight, it almost seems like a trap. I mean, I guess if you lost the weight, you could pivot to other things, but my thought is almost like, is she like stuck? Does she feel like she's stuck there? If I do lose this weight, my gravy train's over?
You are hitting the nail on the head with that one. Yes. A lot of people have assumed now that Amber is not going to lose the weight because of the fact that like people are watching her purely because of the train wreck that she is, because she keeps gaining weight, because she keeps, going backwards in this journey. A lot of people are just hate watching her now. There are people who are genuine fans in her fan base that want to see her lose the weight. I'm of the belief that if she lost the weight, man, I think that people would be really hyped about that. I think she would get a lot of support, but I think that, yeah, she's kind of scared and thinks that, oh yeah, this is going to be, my life for the rest of my life. I'm just going to die in this body because I have to. And to be honest, like, man, at the rate that she's going, she doesn't have much time.
That's such a hard thing to deal with, dude. I mean, it's absurd to me to even imagine being at such a weight and how you deal with it and begin a weight loss journey. So that one's tough. But then if you, as hard as it is to be a human and get through life every single day, you get to make whatever choice you're going to make that day, many, many times over each day. So, I mean, I would say, I do feel a little bad that you're that size, but also you got yourself there and you're waking up every day and not. getting
And
it fixed. You're
here,
fixing it.
here's the thing. There are plenty of people out there. There are plenty of success stories. I mean, I'm not going to downplay weight loss at all. I think weight loss is a very difficult thing. I
Oh yeah,
struggle, man. I
I
like
have my
I'm
own like story on
listen.
that. Yeah,
I'm a big boy. You know, I'm not
not that
huge.
big.
But here's the thing. You know, I would like to lose some weight. And even then, like even for me, it's like, man, I you know, I want to lose some weight. I want to be able to feel comfortable in my own body. And to be at that weight and to not like when you're conscious, like here's the thing, when you're conscious of your decisions and you also have the ability, like she has all of the resources, she has all of the ability, she has people who would
All of the
absolutely
support.
back her and support her, yeah,
Yeah.
and she just chooses, she's actively choosing not to. It's, yeah, it is, you're right, it is sad, but it's also, yeah, you're digging your own grave. I feel some semblance of sympathy for the people that you will leave behind. And that's, I think, where I would leave that. Cause it's just, you know, it is what it is, man. It sucks. And that's how some of these stories are, man. You'll start to dive in and realize that, man, like some of these are not happy. Like some of these stories don't have happy endings. And that's just kind of how it is, man. Some of these stories just don't have happy endings. Some of them are really hard to deal with. And it just is what it is, you know. Not much else to say about that.
The common running theme besides lack of chin is it seems like they all got just drunk and addicted on the social media, the attention,
Yep.
and just could not let it go no matter like the downfall that came of them. So I guess what I want to say here is don't watch our show. Don't share it with your friends. We do not want popularity. Don't
We don't
tell
want to
people
get.
about time well meant.
Don't tell anybody. Never, ever tell anybody about this show. Keep it a secret.
This is between you and I and Sylas, just the three of us. Nobody else has to know.
Nobody else has to know. Oh God. All right. Let's do one more of your choice, and then if you don't pick my choice, I am going to pick one that we will wrap up on. So
Is your choice 7?
it is not 7. 7. Oh man, you picked a really good one. Oh
your
man,
reaction,
you picked a really
your
good
reaction after every number. But my favorite was when I said 26, and you were like, "Oh, you want 26?"
one. It was such a good one. All right, this one is man, this one this is one that's actually like I don't have to give any warnings. This one, these people are just fucking weird. And this is the first group. So I mentioned at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
Lolcows. It could be one person or it could be a group of people. This is the best
We have
picture that I could
heard.
find on short notice. This is Wolfpack Elite. So in this picture from
You said this was the best picture you could find.
they have like no, like they're not like posting on Instagram or anything. I'll find some better pictures, man, but it's
Ain't no
really
chins
bad.
in there.
So from left to right, the guy in the back with the blue shirt is he's Beta. The shorter woman is his wife, Delta. And then the guy with the red hair and beard that's shirtless, that's Alpha.
Fuck.
And the only person that's not listed in here and that isn't in this picture is Den Mother. Okay, it's a 4-member group. So okay. Oh man, I'm so glad you picked this one.
I'm upset.
Oh shit. Why? Are you upset there's an Alpha?
They look so weird, and they have a den mother, and I wasn't ready for this.
This is one that, like, man, it's very confusing. It's very confusing. It's very interesting. This is one that, like, I mean, I'm sure that there's some shit out there. Like, obviously they're fucking weirdos, man. But this is one of the more like lighthearted, kind of goofy ones that I think is a little bit easier to laugh at. To my knowledge, now, mind you, I haven't done extensive research into them. I have very surface level. This is one of the groups that I have very surface level information on, but they're one of the ones that I find the funniest. So Wolfpack Elite is a group of people on TikTok that document their lives. This is kind of what they're known for. And every time that they do, it's always about them living as a wolf pack. So it's 2 couples living together. Okay. It's a brother and a sister, and then their significant others. Okay. And so it's, oh man, I really, it's a very odd thing I really can't explain the videos, but I will try. So essentially how it usually starts out is it's Alpha talking, right? He's very much like a fake macho kind of guy. He's a real string bean kind of guy.
Looks like it.
He's skin and bones. Brother is real tiny, okay? But he acts very like, I'm macho, I'm tough. One of my favorite videos of theirs is him and Beta arm wrestling, and him like really struggling to win because they're about the same size. They're about, they're pretty skinny, kind of guys. And he like barely wins, and then like gets like really like growly and like, that's why I'm the alpha. Oh, it's so great, dude. Oh man, I would highly recommend, if anyone wants to get into looking at Lolcows, just look up Wolfpack Elite, because they're fucking weird. Okay. Other aspects of them are they lie a lot. They clearly lie. They're clearly lying about a lot of things, because so in the picture that I showed you, right, the two in the front, Delta and Alpha, they claim to be siblings. However, in past videos, they've claimed to be married. Yeah. They've also claimed to have multiple children together. Now, there's been no evidence of them having any kids at all, right? There's no video, there's no nothing, no evidence of them having any kids, no evidence of them even being like siblings. Like, there's nothing to prove any of this, right? It's all just speculation. It's all what they're putting out onto the internet. But they've said that their early videos that are now, I don't actually even think they're deleted, but you can find them archived. Their early videos are them being like, talking about their kids being at school, or like Delta being pregnant with Alpha's kid. And it's like, what? I thought y'all were like, and then now in the later videos, it's like, no, we're siblings. I would never, you know what I mean? It's a weird fucking dynamic, man. And then when you see, so the picture, that's a screenshot from a TikTok that I got. That's them having a fun day of team building. And their idea of team building is playing hide and seek outside.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that inherently.
Yeah, no, inherently no. But it's just, man.
Why is he shirtless? Play hide and seek with a shirt on.
He is always shirtless. That man never has a shirt on. He has introduced other, and there's other like side characters to this whole Wolfpack thing. I want to say that recently they introduced a new alpha. That's like, yeah. There's like, but it was like he had been gone for a long time, but I don't remember if they said where he had been gone to. But he was like, he is the original alpha that's around. And a lot of these people are like a little backwoods, a little odd, little interesting. They're definitely living like a fantasy that should have died in like middle school. You know what I mean? They're definitely, they're living a life. Okay.
We're the Wolfpack.
Yes. Elite, dude. Oh my fucking God. Here's the thing. I'm going to knock on wood right now. I don't think they've done anything, reprehensible or crazy. They haven't like been proven to be like, other than just being fucking weird, just being fucking weirdos. Other than that, I think they're just kind of goofy, a little bit on the lighthearted side. Not nearly as bad as some of these other people on the list. Holy shit.
So are they?
You actually dodged some really big bullets. Fuck me.
Are they, they're just like filming TikToks of them playing hide and seek and talking?
Well, it's just them, talking about living their life as a wolf pack. Yeah.
And now we're gonna eat lunch and they make grilled cheese or what?
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, it's like they're like, they talk about the dynamic of the wolf pack and how it works. They've talked about how Beta is like, or the not Beta, but like they talk about what each like member of the wolf pack does, what their responsibilities are. Yeah, man, I don't know, they're really into this shit. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just,
I mean,
what they do. They don't really seem to be hurting anybody. It's more just like internet cringe. I mean, really, that's the best way to describe it. It's just pure internet cringe, and I love it. It's so stupid.
That's kind of exactly what my thought was going to. I was like, well, I mean, I guess if they're not hurting anybody, being weird's not illegal.
Yeah, I guess these are the only people that you don't really need to feel bad for. I mean, Alpha is definitely like threatened people, but it's more like it's real like empty, meaningless type bullshit. It's like if you guys, like I'm gonna call the internet police on you type shit. I mean, if you guys don't stop fucking around or stop bullying us or whatever, like it's all that type of shit. Real fake tough
Fuck
guy
with
online
the pack,
type.
we're gonna attack.
Exactly. If you want to go through them, or if you want to get to them, you gotta go through me. You know what I mean? We travel as a pack. It's just
Jesus
Christ. God, yeah. Listen, man. It's a wild ride. Let me tell you. Man, I'll tell you what. Give me one more number. You could land on some fucked shit right now, or you could land on something amazing.
I don't. Okay, I know that I picked a lot of even numbers.
Okay. You didn't pick a lot of small. You did a few double digits. You didn't really pick into the single digits at all, actually. Oh no, you
11.
did. You did. You want 11? Oh my god.
No, I'm just kidding. No, you reacted wrong. Go back.
What?
No. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I really want to. So okay.
Just pick the one you want. God damn it! This is literally your episode.
No. You did pick the one that I wanted.
I did.
You did.
Yes, for the end.
You picked my favorite lolcow of all time. This is the guy that like I know the most about. Like he's the one that I'm most well studied on.
Okay. What's his phone number?
I can tell you where he lives. not as like actual address. I can tell you the city he lives in. This man, oh man, this is the one person that I really feel for this guy. I really he's the one lolcow that I wish the best for, because overall, I mean, he's had his fair share of just like him just being an outright ass, but he's for the most part been a really solid guy. Okay. He's a self-described mildly autistic boglin. That's how he describes himself. Okay. A boglin. Yes. He has a number of channels. I mean, a number of channels who just sift through this man's life. Okay. He has been very well documented. He has a documentary where people flew out and like, it's a YouTube documentary, but they flew out, found him, spent the day with him, spent some time with him. He's a tobacco connoisseur. He's a maker of wands. He brews his own alcohol. He has his own cooking show that he makes. May I introduce you to the fucking weirdest and goofiest, but also my favorite of all time, King Cobra JFS. He is the goth daddy of your dreams, I know. Let me tell you.
Yeah, all the blood is flowing south on me right now.
So,
boy,
Cobra,
that was you hyped this man to hell, and then you post this picture, and I don't know if I'm impressed or if I'm unimpressed. I don't know what I am right now.
Oh man, listen, Cobra is a fucking wild case. Okay. Cobra's been on the internet. He's another one. He's been making videos for a really long time. He is stuck to the YouTube game. And I don't think that he's as much, I would say that he is kind of addicted to it, but he's very much so. He's started and has kind of been a bit of a positive force. A lot of his trolls fuck with him in like, not an extremely malicious way. He's obviously like, I would say that pretty much everyone on this list has probably gotten like doxed and fucking had horrible shit happen to them, like they've been swatted. Like Cobes has probably had the cops called on him. Some of the trolls that like know his address will send him like food, and it's always like weird fucking like goofy shit. Like he's got sent like Subway sandwiches that's just all the sauces on the sandwich, and then to like own the trolls, he'll eat it. Like he's just crazy. He got sent cat food one time, ate that. He's just crazy. He's a crazy fucker, man. He's looking for love, man. He's looking for here's his list, and it's grown over time. I need you to understand that it's grown over time. He's looking for an of age, single. Oh fuck, man, I really wish I'd have written down the list. It's an of age single, like, and he goes down this list of like, must enjoy like different things, and like, but the main ones is like of age and single. Those are the two that I always remember. He has this like long list that's grown. Fuck, man, I really wish I would have written it down. I didn't put it down in my notes. Holy shit, man. But he's a fucking great guy. He's always talking about how, you should just love people for, let them do what they want to do. You shouldn't like, put people down for shit. Like, he's just got a real positive vibe to him. He's got some anger issues. He gets real frustrated at himself. He's known to kind of throw fits and kind of do weird, just kind of get angry and upset. As of late, he's kind of fallen down this pipeline of drinking a bit heavily. But we'll get into that a little bit later. I do want to talk first about, he has been what he's known for is his recipes. Like he's known for a lot of things, because he's done a lot of streams. He's done a lot of like, YouTube videos of him like vlogging and talking about his life. A big part of why he's so well documented is because he's a tell-all. He's an open book. He has multiple separate like sagas of him like at different eras in his life. And he's had all these dramas happen, but it's like all like weird small town kind of dramas. It's just crazy shit, man. I won't get into all of it. Cobra is one of the people that, if you're interested, you should actually actively go look into him. What I will say, I do want to give a warning on, if you have a weak stomach, don't go watch his cooking recipes. They are some of the most foul and horrible shit ever. Cobra likes to say that he's a bit of a he's like, I'm not a professional chef, but I sure know how to cook. He doesn't know how to cook. He's a fucking terrible cook, man. This guy has almost burnt his house down a number of times. Okay, I have watched many videos of him. I don't know how that he hasn't just like died of dysentery with some of the shit that he's put into his body. Okay, everything has to have bacon. Everything has to have cheese. There's so many things that need to be fried. We're going to microwave and melt cheese on top of this. We're going to make all these crazy creations. A lot of them turn out horribly. Okay. This guy is a mess. There are compilations of his cooking videos, because they're always usually edited down, because Cobra's a mess. He just leaves the camera rolling. He just starts recording and he goes, and whatever happens, right? He also has drink combinations where he's mixing literally everything that he can find. He's basically making, if you've ever heard of the drink Suicide, that's what he's making. He's making Suicides, where he's just pouring everything into one cup, and and he makes a name for it. This is the Cobra special, whatever. And it's always the most crazy fucking like pickle juice Red Bull and beer and hot sauce and here's a Jello shot. And then I'm going to put some relish inside. It's always just like nonsense craziness. And that's how his recipes are too, man.
And then he drinks it all down, or he eats it all up.
Yes. Every single time. I can tell you an example of one of the things that he made. At one point in time, he made deep fried sliced avocado, which on the surface wouldn't be that bad, except for the fact that he cut the avocado and left the skin on the avocado. And he ate it whole. He's like, oh, that crunch is real nice. Like, dude, what?
God damn it, dude.
I love him so much. He's such a fucking insane person. Oh, God. Anyways, he also, to give some context, his trolls are pretty fantastic, too. Like, some of them are obviously, like, real, just mean-spirited and kind of assholes. Fuck them, whatever. I think that for Cobra, especially, some of the more mean-spirited trolls, kind of lame. But some of the trolls have been really fucking good. There was a man out there that was King Cobra JFS, but he spelled his name King Cobra instead of Cobra, it was Kobra, right? So it was King Cobra, and he said he was the original King Cobra. And he had this whole bit where he made YouTube videos and talked all this shit and was like, I don't know why this guy keeps impersonating me. And it was this whole saga, and it ended with an interview. But it was like this like debate between the two Cobras that ended in a guitar shredding battle. It was fantastic. The sagas that this man has been in have been crazy, right? He is such a niche guy, like no one really knows about him, and it's understandable. And oh man, another thing, he makes wands and he sells them on Etsy, and he also practices spells and witchcraft, right? Like he's
Right.
one of the stories that he told was like, um it's so funny, man. He talks about how um he was walking down the street, and these guys like hung out the window and like, called him some mean shit, and he was like, I put a curse on that car to get into a car crash, and he was like, and then 5 minutes later I hear, oh fuck man, I just got into a car crash, and it's like, that's clearly made up, but it's awesome that that's something that you have probably. I guarantee you that happened up until them getting into a car crash, right? But I guarantee you he was like, you should get into a car crash, right? Oh my god, he, I. Oh, and he was also to go back. He's also kind of had a little bit of a feud with Cyrex, and also, he's also Danny Brown loves him. Danny Brown fucking loves Cyrex or loves King Cobra. It's just such a weird thing that Danny Brown knows all of these like weird niche lolcows. Um, oh, I love Cobes, man. I really genuinely do. He's a weird fucking guy. Um, Sadly, this is one of those that, man, I hate to end it on a sad note, but sadly he has kind of fallen into this. He started. He's had a bit of a rough life. Again, that's no excuse, but he has kind of fallen into alcoholism, and it's gotten really bad, man. Like he's a lot of his streams lately are him just getting, shit faced, blackout drunk every day, and it's rough to see, man. It's one of those things where like, man, I really want him to turn it around. It's like I'm rooting for Cobes. I'm rooting for Cobra to turn shit around, to find some happiness, man. He had a girlfriend that was absolutely fucking insane. She was nuts. That's a whole other saga. Oh my god. Um, it was insane. But a lot of it is just, man, like he was, oh my god. So during his whole alcoholism phase, he was brewing his own mead.
Oh,
And
perfect.
for those of you who don't know, when you brew mead, you need to let it brew the entire time. And he was opening this shit like 2 days and being like, that's good enough, and just drinking it, and it was terrible. He was like, it's not too bad, YouTube. Like, oh god. It's a wild ride with Cobra, man. It's been, oh man. Holy shit. I love Cobra. I wish him the best. I hope he can find some happiness and some sobriety, and here's the thing. We at Time Well Meant, we appreciate having a drink every now and then, but you gotta understand, man, there's limits to it. You can't be getting sloppy. You can't, you gotta understand, man. There are people who want you around. Cobra, this is my message to you. I want you around, buddy. I want you to get sober. I want you to you could still have a drink. Don't get me wrong, but just slow it down, bud. Slow it down. Go back to, I want to see some more cooking videos. Holy fucking shit.
Go back to cooking.
Oh man. Yeah.
I want to go look up some of this dude's recipes.
I'm telling you right now, just it's wild. It's fucking crazy.
I'm going to just make myself a nice plate of food and sit down and watch.
Yeah. Some of them are pretty rough, man. He made, you know what? I'm actually not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you any of the ones that he's made that I would recommend. I'm just going to link you to the playlist that I have, because it's funny. So the reason why I decided to go, because I originally had another topic planned for my deep dive. Time constraints and things like that kind of made it a little bit more difficult to do my proper research. And that is something that I do want to talk about in the future. I'm not going to spoil it here. It is something that I am very passionate about, and I think will make for a very interesting deep dive. But it just didn't. The cards did not, play out right. But fuck, man, I could go on and on about Lolcows. This is something that I'm really glad that I got to kind of expound upon, and we really only scratched the surface of the list, man. There's a number of people that it's okay that we didn't talk about them. I wish we had, man. Oh man, some of these people on this list are fucking crazy. And maybe we'll do a part 2 if this is something that you're interested in, to learn some more, man, because it's the well goes deep. The hole is ever expanding, and this is just the surface, my friend. We've just dipped our toes in. Ugh.
Nice. Well, whatever you do, do not comment or like this video because that'll boost us in the algorithm. We'll get famous and we'll turn into these people.
Yeah.
So just mentally, like telepathically, send us like
Well,
if you
okay.
thought any of these were interesting, so we know to go into them further.
Yeah.
Send me
I will
a letter. I need a letter, a
need a
handwritten
physical
letter
letter.
sent
We're
by
gonna
the
get a PO
post.
box that you can send a letter to. I will say there is a lesson to be learned from this, and that is to be conscious and self-aware of what you're putting out into the internet, right? Understand, like be able to accept criticism, be able to accept that, you're not perfect and everything that you put out isn't going to be, the best or whatever. But like understand too, like if you do something wrong, take accountability and like, don't just fucking play it off like nothing happened. Don't try and, force your way into thinking that things are, you know, gravy when in actuality you fucked up, or you're, try and be self-aware. I think that's kind of the lesson here, because a lot of these people, and also have some fucking common decency to not expound upon every aspect of your life. Holy shit. A lot of what happens with these people is they put every single piece of information about their life out there. Man, we didn't even get into some of the crazier stuff. You missed the horror cow by one
Damn.
number, actually. I'm not.
Damn.
You missed him. Yeah. I won't say which number, but I was really, funnily enough, Dark Side Phil was a late addition. If you had picked the number, I'm going to change up the order, which is why I'm telling you now for
No.
next time. If you had picked number 25, man, that would have been a really gross one to start with. That was the one that I'm like, I would probably classify him as a horror cow. It was, ooh, man, again, and Lolcows come in all shapes and sizes, man. Some of them are going to be goofy, weird, kind of wacky people, and some of them are genuinely disgusting human beings who don't belong on the internet. But it's an interesting thing. I have no ability to say whether or not it's okay to document these people, right? Because they're going to get documented regardless. There's more lolcows kind of coming, like surfacing as time goes on, and there's plenty of lolcows that I don't know about. It's just one of those things that I find interesting. I think people on the internet are interesting in general, and I think these people are even like have an extra semblance of like they have an extra bit of interesting because of the fact that they
They're so
are
extra.
just, yeah, they are extra. They're just extra and odd and just something else,
Hmm.
There's something about them. I don't know what it is. I don't really know exactly what it is. I can't pinpoint why I like them, but I do. I want to know more. I want to, holy shit.
If I could put a South Park like closing moral value onto this, I think that the running theme here is really like that self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's probably one of the hardest things to do as a human being is to objectively look at your own situation.
Yep.
Like you have to be in the right mindset. It can't happen at all times. I feel like if you're experiencing any sort of emotion, it's almost impossible, but you have to find a calm state of mind to step out of your own viewpoint and look at your situation and also be able to understand how so many other people view things differently and how that view is all going to come in.
Mm-hmm.
I might be rambling a bit there, but these people just don't they just don't realize that people they're making fun of you and they feel it as they love me. I'm getting all these likes and comments and views. They love me, and these people are laughing at you nonstop.
Yep.
And if you don't have any form of self-awareness, and if you cannot objectively look at your own situation, you're Boogie 2988.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? Boogie 2988, you are the one person I'm not inviting on the show.
Well, all these other people are invited.
Except for the kid fuckers, yeah.
Okay. So basically, Cobra and Wolfpack and Amberlynn. I think
Yeah.
that's everyone.
Yeah, they'd be
everyone else
interesting.
is Wings and Phil. But I wouldn't want. I will say, of all the people that I would want on the show, I don't think I'd want. Cobra's basically the only one. I'd be like, I'd be cool with that. It would definitely be kind of an awkward interview, but it would also be just kind of interesting.
I like
just
this
to get to
running
speak to the
joke.
guy.
I'd be down with it. He seems, just from what you told and from looking at this picture here, I'd talk to him. But I like this running joke that we have of just inviting random people who are never ever gonna see our
Yeah.
invites.
Oh yeah.
But
oh yeah. They're
but
never gonna know.
I really want it to get to Boogie, And I want somebody to tell him, like, this little podcast that nobody's ever heard of, they invited like 20 other people, but they said, fuck Boogie.
They said, fuck Boogie. Doesn't matter. Doesn't
that
matter.
Would get so under his skin, and you know it.
You know it, yeah.
He'd be tweeting us, dude.
Yeah, like I said, we barely, there are so many people. I could literally go on and on about this topic. Holy shit. There are so many, my face hurts from smiling so much. Holy shit. There are so many people, man, that were on this list that we didn't get to talk about. I let it slip, a few of them, but there's a big portion that we didn't talk about, which is fine. Because you know what? It's okay. Because there's going to be more in the future. We're going to do more deep dives. Next, episode 15 is going to be Kirby's version. It's going to be Kirby's deep dive. He's got something cooking. I don't know what it might be. Maybe he didn't even know. Shit. Yeah, you're cooking.
I don't know.
You're cooking like Cobra. You know what I mean? Hopefully it won't.
All I know is episode 15 is going to have some bacon. It's going to have some cheese.
And it's going to be melted. And it's going to be delicious, right. YouTube.
You're going to love it.
Oh, man. Next week, or not next week, 2 weeks from now, we're going to be back to business as usual. Like I said, every couple episodes, or every 5 episodes, we'll do kind of one of these weird little deep dives or toe dips or whatever you want to call them. Something. We'll be talking about something weird. But man, we appreciate y'all hanging out. Appreciate y'all listening. We would love to go down the rest of this list of Lolcows. But yeah, I think that was time well meant.
I have been dialed in to this drama.
Haktua.